Guys, ready for your next project? You photo ones are just absolutely killing it. Your photos are amazing and beautiful, and I enjoy looking at them, and our critiques are really fun, and you guys are just doing an awesome, awesome job. So, this next project is one that, of course, we would be doing at school, and it's one that we would be doing around now, too. So, these are your nature photos. We're going to do your nature photos next. And I love doing this project at school because we usually go and take a hike into the woods and we spend all day back there and, you know, a couple days, of course, but you could do the same thing at home. So like right now is a really awesome time of year. Everything's starting to bloom. There's colors. The sun is showing up once in a while. We've been getting outside more and more, which is great. And contrary to some people's beliefs, you are allowed to go outside. Fresh air is good for you. So, you know, go to your backyard, take a walk, go to the park, go down to Asbury Woods. It's good for you. Get outside, right? So here's what we're going to do for this project. I'm going to go over this assignment sheet for you real quick, and then I'm going to go over some of the resources I have in your resource folder for you. So nature photos are one of the most popular things to photograph because we all like to capture the world around us. But they can be boring. They can get really boring. Like I could look at a picture of a tree 20 times and be like, yay, a tree. And then there's that one that you look at and you're like, oh, that's cool. So what you need to look for is the wow factor. You need to find that wow factor in your image, something that makes it stand out, something that's more than just a boring, typical nature photo, something that's more creative, right? So some of those things that you might look for are, of course, the lighting. I'm big on lighting if you haven't already noticed. Lighting can just add so much to your photograph, right? The golden hour, we talked about that. Sunrise, sunset, really cool lighting. Colors it makes, right? Colors in objects, natural objects, in the sunset, in the color of the lighting that you find, right? Interesting and natural subject matter. So try to find something, you know, not as typical as like a dandelion or like a, you know, daffodil or something, you know. Think about interesting different things and different ways to take pictures of those things, right? You can focus on textures, patterns, all kinds of fun stuff. Interesting angles, right? You can experiment with that to take your natural object and give it that wow factor. Try to eliminate as much man-made things as you can from your shots. This is supposed to be a nature project, so like seeing your house or the sidewalk in the background kind of ruins it for you, you know? So pay attention to that background. Make sure that everything in your image is as natural as you can get it to be. Use your short depth of field or your portrait mode on your phone if that's what you're using. All right, your nature photos, your nature project is broken up into two parts. The first part is your close-up or your macro shots. So I want you to take a look at your world up close, study details of a flower or a piece of moss or the texture of the tree, tree bark and stuff like that. Look for the little things, right? Focus on those little teeny things. Make sure, try to get as close as you can with still being like in focus, right? We don't want to like, you know, have fuzzy images. So experiment with the how close you can get and still be in focus and still have crisp, clear photographs. And remember, you can always crop in a bit too. If you have to back up with your phone or your iPad or your camera, whatever you're using, you can always crop in, you know, when you're done to make it a little bit closer, right? Look for those little things to highlight in your image. You're going to take two close-up photographs, so you have to take two of those. I'm going to highlight that. You must take two images. There you go. You must take two images. All right, that's part one. Two close-up or macro shots. Macro just means close-up. It's kind of the same thing. You know, it's a little repetitive, but whatever. Part two, panorama. In class, I would actually show you how to take a panorama with your cameras on a tripod and to show you how to use Photoshop to stitch them together, and it's really fun to do. But since we're not in school and you don't have cameras or tripods or Photoshop, you do have your iPad or your phone, which actually lets you take a panorama. I'm going to assume you all know how to do that. If you don't, message me. I'll show you, right? But it's right by your camera. You know, you scroll and there's the photo, there's the square photo, there's the panorama, there's the video. It's all right there. So you just take a panorama and you just start on one side and you move slowly to the other, right? So part 2, your panorama. I want you to take a step back and look at the vast landscapes around you, how the sky meets the ground, how different parts of nature blend together in a larger landscape. For this one, you can use the panorama feature on your phone or your iPad to include more of the scene than you can capture in one frame. So that's the whole point of a panorama, is that you can capture more of the landscape around you than one frame allows you to see. So, you know, back up. So we're kind of like, we're getting close and then we're backing up. That's the whole point of this project. At school, we also talk about vertical panoramas, which you could take with the camera. I don't know if there's a way to take a vertical panorama with your phone or your iPad, but if that's something you want to experiment with, you can try that and let me know if it works, right? So that's an option. Editing. You, of course, can edit these however you wish. Some new things you might want to play with that are great for landscapes is a thing called HDR, high dynamic range effects, that you can get with shooting. There's actually an HDR option on your phone, maybe your iPad too, I think, yeah. And there's a lot of options in editing where you can do HDR effects. HDR gives you it's like really, really, really detailed shots. It takes all the detail and the colors and like just bumps everything up, and it looks really, really cool with some landscapes. You don't have to do that. That's just an option. Maybe something new that you might not have played with before that you could play with now. There's also apps out there that are just for HDRs if you want to try to download some. They're fun to play with. You can also increase vibrance or textures or details in your editing. You could do whatever you want, really. Play with them and make different things stand out. You guys have done a really awesome job editing, especially those abstract photos you just took. Those were so much fun to look at. And I think you guys had a good time with that. I loved reading everybody's comments like, I love this project. This project's so much fun. So yeah, I thought it was fun too. So I hope you guys enjoy your nature shots just as much as you enjoyed your abstract shots. So let's take a look at what else is in your Schoology folder. This is Module 6, and this is your resource folder within Module 6, right? So we are looking at 2 photographers here. The first one is Ansel Adams. Boom, here's his website. Ansel Adams is like the godfather of landscape photography. He worked in like the early 1900s with this big giant 8x10 camera. He photographed Yosemite National Park. There's actually a mountain named after him there. He did some really amazing work early on. These photographs in his gallery online are beautiful, but I've seen, you guys, his photographs in real life, and they are just like breathtaking. They are amazing. The detail in like the pine tree all the way in the back of the landscape is just crisp and clear and spot on. And he was a very technical photographer. He actually made this thing called the zone system, which was all about black and white photography and getting the right exposure and everything like that. So he was phenomenal. He's very, 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 very popular. You have probably seen some of his work before. Calendars and books and prints hanging at your grandma's house and, you know, all kinds of stuff. But this is Ansel Adams. You guys can look at him. Most of his stuff is like landscape work, like far away landscape work. He does do some close-up stuff, but most of it's far away, right? Ansel Adams, godfather of landscape photography. Also a really big environmentalist. He was pretty fantastic. In your resource folder, there's also this great video. It's like 3 minutes long, so watch it. It's really fun. It is Ansel Adams taking one of his photographs. and you get to actually see his big old camera and how he takes his photograph and what goes into all of these awesome photos that he did. Okay, so that's Ansel Adams, those two. The next photographer that I'm looking at, and Ansel Adams, of course, was like way back in the day, guys. Like I'm talking like 1920s, 1900s, somewhere around there. And then I am giving you also Mr. Peter Lick, who photographs now. He is also a fantastic landscape artist, right? But he is a modern day landscape artist. We'll look at one of his things here. He takes a lot of panoramas, which is, you know, really fun. But his photographs are just absolutely beautiful and super colorful and vivid and just like, wow. They're wow, right? He's got a lot of wow going on in his. And you can go through all of his galleries. Oh, I'm sorry, not the galleries. You want to look at the work. He actually has galleries all over the world where he sells his stuff. I discovered Peter Lick when I was in Las Vegas. He has a gallery in the Bellagio in Las Vegas, and it was phenomenal. And you walk in, and these panoramas are on this like metal paper, and they're as big as the wall, and they're just like, they're just wow. I don't know what else to say, but wow. His photographs are wow, right? So take a look at him. A lot different than Ansel Adams. He's got a whole lot of the HDR sort of effect going on in the clouds and the detail and the color, right? So he's, you know, pretty amazing. Look, and he's selling one of his prints, not even an original, for $4,950. If anybody wants to get me a present because I'm your favorite teacher. So we've got, this is his gallery where we just were. This is a really fun article because Peter Lick sold the most expensive photograph ever sold in history, which was $6.5 million for this photograph. I'll let you click on it to see what the photograph is. Ooh, keep you in suspense there. I also added this really cool website at the bottom that's all about macro photography. And these are broken up by photographers. So look at these. How cool are these? Amazing macro shots. Bugs, flowers. And then it gives you the photographer's name down here so you can click on them and see more of their work if you want, right? Awesome colors, great editing. I have a feeling a lot of the stuff we're seeing in this website, look at that. Ooh, look at that. Look at that light. Yeah, on those spider webs, that's amazing. But I have a feeling a lot of this is edited, like a whole lot of editing, right? So don't mind the weird ads. Look at that guy. Look at his fuzzy little face. He's pretty cool, huh? So, I mean, sure, if you could find some bugs, go ahead and photograph some bugs. Ooh, some birds. I don't know if our hummingbirds are out yet. Look at these. How pretty is that, right? So these are just, I'll let you guys look through all that, right? That's all of your resources. So have fun with this project today, and, well, this week, I mean, and get it posted by the deadline, and make sure to critique everybody else's work. I really love talking back and forth with you guys via our little critiques and looking at everybody's artwork. Also, I've updated your website, the big website that I sent out to everybody, and I'll send that out again. And make sure you're looking at it because all your work is on there. It's like our virtual hallway gallery. So enjoy this. Have fun with this. Go outside, get some fresh air, look at the beautiful things around you. So, and I will see your finished work at the end of the week. All right, bye guys.